people in this room who are fans of Seinfeld, right?
Yo!
Anybody else wear out tapes of Emperor's New Groove?
Woo!
Any Impossible fans out there?
Yeah!
Others, I could list all of the animated shows Patrick's in, but we would be here all day. But we want to get him out here, right, Dallas?
Yeah!
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. We want to get Patrick out on the stage, right, Dallas?
Yeah!
Let's bring him out, everybody. Patrick Warburton!
Woo! There we go, my man! Woohoo! Yes! Oh my God, no way!
Hello. Hello, hello. Thank you for being here. Thank you for coming out. I mean, you know, it takes some, you know, you gotta get up and you gotta go somewhere. And you could just be sitting at home on your couch fiddling with your phone, because that's the whole day. Or you could be at a coffee shop with a dear friend while you're fiddling on your phone. You could be just driving in your car fiddling on your phone. But you're going to hear fiddling on your phone, so thank you. I've met so many wonderful people here, and it's great, and I love Dallas. And a story I told, I guess a few of you, I don't know, well, the last time was this year. I did a movie in Waxahachie, Texas. Right on. Waxahachie, represent. And it was a little movie called Hoovy, and I don't know if any of you saw it, but faith-based movie. But I went to a little, sort of a chain Italian restaurant, and a young man came up to me. He was the waiter. He was probably about 19. And he said, "This is awesome." He goes, "We've never had a celebrity in here before, except for Sting." And so I go, "Well, I'm sure Sting would appreciate getting lumped in with me." "What was Sting doing here?" He goes, "He lives here." I go, "No, he doesn't." I go, "It's a charming town." And I'm not saying anything bad against your town. It's very charming. Sting doesn't live here. He lives here. Yeah, he's been in the restaurant 4 times. His son's in my class. He does not live here. He would live in London or New York. He lives here. I go, "I don't care how much he loves horses. He lives here." I go, "All right. I'm not going to win this argument." I go, "He's one of the greatest." He goes, "Yes, he is." I go, "My favorite piece he's ever done is Mercury Falling. That was great." He goes, "Yeah." Well, I walk out of the restaurant and I call my wife. I go, "Honey, I don't think this kid's a pathological liar, but he thinks that Sting lives in Waxahachie, Texas." And she starts laughing because she's Googled. And apparently there's a professional wrestler named Sting. So me and the young man were talking about 2 different Stings. And so then I had to go back and I had to go through this conversation, this ridiculous conversation, and reevaluate it. Okay, so when I said Mercury Falling, he thought that Mercury was some other wrestler. And when Sting took him down, Mercury was falling. I'm like, this is crazy. Anyways, that's just my little Texas story. But thank you for having me here. It's been great. I love it. And what are we going to talk about?
I've got a few questions for you. We've got a Q and A mic there for the audience. Go ahead and start lining up. I love doing my job. I also love taking a nap, being lazy. So, you know, give me a little bit of rest time. I'm curious what you were a fan of growing up. So many people out here are fans of Kim Possible. I mentioned Emperor's New Groove. So many animated series that you were a part of. So many live action shows that you were a part of. What was your fan of? What would you come to a show like this and want to see somebody from?
Well, they didn't have shows like this when I was a kid. Many years ago. I was a fan. I loved Jerry Lewis. I mean, I was supposed to be a priest who ran and drive a movie theater. That was going to be my job. Because my mother let me know at the tender age of 11 that she'd given me to the Lord and that I was going to be a priest. You don't do that to a kid. You just don't. I didn't know better. I said, "Well, can a priest have a job?" She said, "Sure," which is a lie because most priests don't have jobs. And I love movies, so I said, can I run the projector to drive the movie theater and be a priest?" She said, "Sure." So for a couple of years there, I was going to be a priest who ran the projector to drive the movie theater. Let me just stop by saying, how adorable is that? I mean, when you think of me, you don't think cute, but that is really sweet. It was a long time ago. Jerry Lewis movies were an inspiration to me. I love Jerry Lewis and anything fun, anything that was just an escape. Because I really, I collected stamps and coins. I didn't have any friends. I was 13 years old. When I was 13 years old, I weighed 95 pounds. I was the smallest kid in school, in high school. 95 pounds freshman year in high school. I'm also blind as a bat. I wear contact lenses. I can't see 20/20 with these lenses because data disposables only come up to a certain power. So I wear glasses over my contacts. I usually win in 3 contests. I win. My eyesight's worse than yours, unless of course you have a cane. My mother's crazier than yours. I don't know a lot. As always. And I have a worse neighbor than you. That's another whole story. Those are 3 challenges. So is anything escapism now? I loved Disney growing up, a huge Disney file. And I guess yes, I mean, Disney's always, and for me, and for most of the rest of the world, it's always been so much more special than a movie studio and a theme park. There's, magic. I always thought if they're going to come up with a religion based on science fiction, how about Disneyology? Because I would go to the Church of Disney. I'm like, this is the happiest place ever. So, the early Disney movies I love are like The Sword in the Stone, and I remember Sebastian Cabot was the narrator, and there's something magic about his narration and richness. But Disney movies. I always liked the kind of the sweeter stuff, like in the comic books. I wouldn't have been, like the darker, like the superhero comic books I don't recall having those. I had all the silly ones like Goofy and Richie Rich and all those silly ones.
Mentioning Disney and Disney parks and so on, what was it like getting the gig, narrating Soarin', and also getting a part on Star Tours?
Oh, well, that was just a fantastic opportunity. Time I get the chance to work with Disney. So the Soaring, when I went to record Soaring that day, John Lasseter was there, and we crossed paths, and so I was recording that, and then Lasseter took me around the park, and we went into a Bug's Life, and we sat there before they opened Bug's Life, and got to do the, see the Bug's Life attraction before anybody had been in there. And just remember hanging out with Lasseter for 2 hours. That was really cool, and I love doing the security droid for the Star Tours. It's fun. I think my favorite line is, sorry, no Wookiees allowed. Oh, that's your husband. My apologies. Say a lot of dumb things. They digitize your voice, so I've stood there in front of that droid, and I can't even tell it's me, but people seem to be able to tell from the sort of the cadence of the voice. I get tweets a lot. I think this is you. You're right.
Lemony Snicket, were your kids books? Were you familiar with the books before you got that gig?
I was familiar with the books, but my kids never read it. Now, I have 4, they're all older now, but my eldest son, Talon, was sort of the arbiter of what, would come through with the kids. So, he would be the first one. He had no interest in reading books where the parents died in a house fire. His immediate reaction was, that sounds terribly depressing. Yeah. So he didn't read it, the rest of the kids didn't read it. So I wasn't that familiar. Now with Lemony Snicket, everybody who's, the fans, the book readers, they observe everything, So then there I was. I would always try to avoid any Q and A's in regards to that because my answer, I never knew anything. I read the scripts. Hey, listen, I learned a lot of lines. Early on, they did broach the subject of a teleprompter. I said, that is sacrilege. And I go, Lemony has to know everything he says backwards and forwards. So I made sure that whenever I ended up on set, I knew that material backwards and forwards so that it wasn't something that would get in the way. It was a great opportunity. Barry Sonnenfeld directed it and produced it. It was a very special, the books were special to him because he read them all to his daughter Chloe. And a lot of people don't know this, but Barry Sonnenfeld was supposed to direct the movie, and then he got fired. And they fired him and Daniel Hanlon, apparently the writer of the books. And then they made a movie, and I think with the film, one of the issues was they took 3 books and tried to put them all into one movie. And what was nice, I guess, the series is a little more cohesive because they were able to take one book and do two like 1-hour episodes. So it's like a movie per book, so you weren't missing things. Everything sort of came together, but he really wanted to do that. Bo Welch, who does all Tim Burton's sets, did all of our sets. So the show really came together nicely. Netflix, too, is in many ways just better than working for the networks because they stay out of your way. If they have creative geniuses like a Barry Sonnenfeld and a Bo Welch and a Daniel Hanlon, they let them do what they do and they get out of the way. So.
I've got a couple more for you and then we'll turn it over to the audience. One of my favorite of your animated voice roles is Brock Sampson in the Venture Brothers. As you were a fan of a little bit of boy adventure comic books, stuff like Richard Rich, that sort of thing, what was it like looking at those scripts when they first crossed your desk? Did you get just how weird this show was going to get? I mean, it started pretty weird, but it got real weird.
Well, I had a little idea of what to expect. Chris McCulloch, who is a dear friend of Ben Edlund's, Ben Edlund created The Tick. Met Chris McCulloch on The Tick. Chris McCulloch is the creator of the Venture Brothers. He goes by Doc Hammer, I believe. Or Jackson Public, I still get that wrong. He's one of the two, and so I had an idea somewhat what to expect. Then Ben Edlund actually went on, and he was one of the writers on Firefly, so they're all sort of tied in together. Yeah, it was like, you know, I looked at it and I go, yeah, I think I saw what one of the major comparisons would be, sort of Johnny Quest on acid, you know, just a bigger, badder version of that. But, you know, there are a lot of things in the realm of animation that you look at and you go, oh, all right, so, you know, I'm on board, this will be fun, you know. I mean, it was very, very clever. If I ever had anything that I had to, that created some consternation beforehand, it would have been, you know, 20 years ago when I looked at the first few pages of Joe and Family Guy and didn't know what that was, and am I going to do this? And then I'm like, sure, yeah. I did 20 years later, but, you know, the nature, you know, of storytelling and satirical, you know, cartoons or whatnot is, you know, it's offensive in many ways.